Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel Coffee Tea Paper. My name's Louise and today I'm bringing you part 2 in what will probably end up being a multi-part series of my favorite journaling or journaling related books. Part 1 I did a look at the Traveler's Notebook book, which is all in Japanese, but I'm slowly working my way through it. Today I am bringing you something a little bit different because it is actually a guide rather than just a book to look at. And this book is called Sketch Your World, a guide to sketch journaling with over 500 illustrations by Kimiko Sekimoto, and the publisher is Tuttle Publishers. This here is my little practice sketchbook. I normally have this clipped to the cover, so when I dip into this book, I have my little practice sketchbook here alongside it. I have had this book for a couple of years and I think it's been very helpful. Here's some of the first little practice sketches I did with the assistance of this book. These ones, rolls, buns and pastries, but we're probably getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Cafe food and so on. So a bit about the author. There's not actually all that much about the author that I could find. Whatever is on the web is the same as what is published here in this back of this book. Kimiko Sekimoto is an award-winning artist who graduated from Joshibi University of Art and Design. She works as a freelance illustrator and teaches pen sketching courses at Waseda University in Japan. She has shown her artworks in dozens of exhibitions since 2005. Now, I think this book was originally, so the original Japanese edition was published in 2011 and this English translation in 2022, which is when I picked it up. What I really like about this book is a number of things, but this is just the end paper here, and this gives you an immediate insight into Kimiko's journals and journaling style. There's another example on the other end paper, and I think this has actually been blown up. I suspect this is a passport size journal because if you just compare the writing, she's pretty consistent with her writing size. So that's just my observation. The contents, I'm not going to go through the whole book. I just sort of highlighted a few things I want to share with you. Why I wrote this book, people and things in the city, tools to have on hand, which I think is something we're all interested in, and some basic techniques. So she has you practicing just lines, circles, stuff like that. And then these next chapters in a cafe, corner grocery store, in the kitchen, street scenes, at the table, on the road, and sketching people all have doable exercises that you can work through in your practice notebook or your normal notebook. She encourages you just to start doing it in the notebook that you keep with you every day. Now, because I have a variety of journals, I decided I wanted to have a dedicated notebook to do that. So we'll just have a little look at her tools section. So she suggests it's best to use a water-based, water-resistant felt tip pen, and then she gives specific examples of brands and brand numbers, etc., so you can actually get those pens. I myself like to use something like a Pigma Micron, which has archival ink and is waterproof, or Faber-Castell. Once again, it's a waterproof ink. She does make the note of not using oil-based pens because the ink bleeds through the paper, but that then is directly related to what notebook you use and what the paper in those notebooks are. She says that she recommends an unruled blank pages, but here you can see one of her first examples is actually in a diary where she has just repurposed this to be her travel journal. She says if you'll be using colour, a watercolour sketchbook is good too, because of course adding watercolour with water can affect your pages and how your pages look. This one takes the ink and the watercolors quite nicely, doesn't come through to the other side. I have no idea what it is. There you go, Geo Design. The rest of it is all in Japanese. I can tell you that's the size and it has 24 pages, but this was a freebie I got somewhere along the line, and I just find it just a great little book to have with this one to work through the various exercises and practicing. She says about thickness of pens, and she gives an example here. She talks about paint with a traveling palette, and she suggests you can also use colored pencils, but she talks about that later in the book. So one of the chapters here, so when she starts getting into specifics, oh, I should probably put on this one. So you can see here, this is the page that I have worked through within my own practice workbook, and the steps are really quite simple. She's, I mean, you can even see here her example photo. It's the rim of the cup is nowhere near as thick as she has drawn it, for example. So she's not into still life or art imitating life or anything like that. It's really about just having the ability to add some meaningful sketches into your journals that are perhaps an improvement upon what you might be doing already, or if you have no idea where to start, it just gives you a starting point. She also makes a good point of I'm not sure where it is, but she, at some point in the book, she shows you all the different things, like if you learn to draw a basic cube, all the things that you can then draw with a cube. You could draw a brick, you could draw a slice of tofu, you could draw a book, you could draw basically a pack of flour, like anything that starts before you add the details that is a cube shape. And it's a bit the same with glasses. I mean, they're basically a form of a cylinder, so whether they're tall or short, wine bottles are a cylinder with a bit added on, so I really find that breaking down into simple shapes, this explanations are really, really helpful. For example, she says here, bread. Inhale the lovely aroma of baking bread. The shelves in the shop are full of delicious looking loaves. A wide variety of characteristic bread, like French and German, is available too. Try drawing your favourite bread. Sandwiches and burgers may look difficult, but if you know the order in which to draw them, they're easy. Then you just add in texture to finish. And I've done here, I've worked in some of the examples that she has shared here, but I've also done my own because something that my son likes is a pain au chocolat, so I did my own take on that. And this is the one that I did from the exercise, and these other two were from the exercise as well. I've also come back and added in some colour and a bit of shadowing, but of course you don't have to. just share here some more sample pages. She likes to keep a shopping list journal. You can see here she's used a different type of paper. Again, this looks like a Hobonichi notebook maybe, and she's just done pen sketches in here, and she's got a little code where she's put in a star system of something that she needs to look for now, and something that she needs to look for at some point. I'm probably more of a shopping list person, but I do, if I'm shopping for something, like I had to buy a window blind recently, then I will actually do up a sketch with measurements to make sure that I am happy with the dimensions and how it might look. But you know, it's not, this might not be the sort of journal that you want to keep, or it might be something that you find very useful. But the techniques and ideas that she shares in this book is very versatile, and I like that. I like to do a lot of doodling in my travel journals, for example. Here she's using another notebook again. This is a diary that she is keeping, and she's just done some, this might be another, I don't know if that's a Hobonichi, that might be, oh, I'm not quite sure, but you can see that she isn't particularly loyal to one style or type of notebook, but she just uses whatever she is using at the time, I think, in order to sketch the world around her. We'll look at another sample. This, I think, is a passport-sized journal that is in a leather cover, and I suspect this is a lot smaller than it's been printed in. I think it's probably even smaller than this. I suspect it might be a traveler's factory style passport size journal, and you can see here that she's really put in minimum amount of text, but she's concentrated on her sketches, added some very basic color, and it looks that she's done it quite quickly. I mean, you can see here that she's done the circle here to get that top of the wine level. It comes outside of the glass, and the rim of the wine glass is going outside the edges, for example. And this bowl looks quite rough, and the salt and pepper shakers, but overall it really gives you exactly the idea of what that moment on the 20th of June 2011, when she was at St Malo, was like. And that's what I love about this book, is it really helps you to let go of trying to do that really perfect, like capturing the exact, almost photo-like replica of what you're trying to sketch, because you know that can be a very disappointing, time-consuming, and a hard road to go down unless you're just a brilliant artist naturally. So I find this very encouraging in just the loose lines and the very sketchy nature of these sketches in here. Now, one of the things I personally love are travel diaries. So she's got a whole section on that. This is the same one that is in the cover page, so maybe we have a look. So this is a whole combination of information on these pages. She has the date, she has the weather, she has where she is, where she's going, how long, how, and a little talk about what happened, her timetable for the day. She had a bit of a disaster. She lost her notebook, but fortunately someone found it and returned it to her. She had a Magnum ice cream, and this is a bit funny because she's ended up with chocolate bits all over her jacket, and I have to say I totally relate to that. I don't know, it doesn't matter how careful I am, I always seem to end up with something on me somewhere. And I'm so careful, I always use a serviette or a napkin, so I don't understand how it works. Then she's broken down the rest of the day here with the times and just a little sketches of what she's seen out the window of the bus or the train. And I mean, look at that. I mean, it's really, it's really, really basic. I mean, we know that that is Mont Saint Michel because that is where she's going. And she has made a note here, can see Mont Saint Michel far off, get off for tour of Mont Saint Michel. And it's really just these pointy sort of spire lines that indicate the top of Mont Saint Michel coming out of the window here, that so you know where she is and what she is seeing. She has some tips that you can even do itineraries before you go or after you go. This is her 10-day sketch trip. She even does a visual packing list. I much prefer just a list of, it's quite descriptive, like I'll write things like grey short sleeve t-shirt with blue spots. And I know exactly what I'm taking, so then I can tick it off. But she's obviously an incredibly visual person, and so this visual packing list, I can see that she has got her capsule wardrobe worked out by doing this as well. Floor plans, that's sort of getting a bit next level. Maps of where she's been staying. Some of the notes she's written in here is really quite amusing, just with some of the comments on the hotels that she's stayed in this particular trip. Then it does get a little bit more next level. I guess she doesn't really give instructions on how to do these sorts of level of quite detailed sketching, but they're just really nice to look through and aspire to. And yeah, I'm not sure I could really do people, but maybe one day if I work through the entire book and I feel a little bit more confident, I will have a go. But it's really just it's such an inspiring and reassuring book to look through and work through all the different tutorials, because they're all stuff that's pretty common in our lives. Doesn't matter where we are or what we do or where we go. I really enjoy this book. So I would recommend it if you are looking for a way to include doodles and sketches in your journals. Then I would encourage you to check this one out. I think there's also an ebook. A lot of these books that I'm sharing here do have ebook versions. I just feel for this sort of thing, because we spend so much time just doom scrolling through Instagram and Pinterest and so forth for inspiration, that sometimes it's actually really nice just to hold a physical book and turn the pages and get away from a screen while you're working in your journals. So thank you so much for listening to me go on about this book. For the next one that we will have a look at, I don't have it here on my desk. It's up. I've been reading it and having a bit more of a look at it lately, so it's up on my bedside table. But it is another journaling book, and it's a little bit more next level than this one. And it's about nature journaling, but I will hopefully share that with you next week. Until the next video, bye!